PECOTA loves the Los Angeles Dodgers. Back to the PECOTA projections from Baseball Prospectus. Last year, having them at 94 wins, and usually at 97, 98 wins before that, and projecting 98 wins this year, the most in all of baseball. And you see the NL West a little low on the Rockies. I don't know, maybe they're not that good. Diamondbacks at 78 wins. Pretty good on the Giants at 86 wins, but Dodgers way up there. Dodgers that good, Joel? You're thinking that?
Yeah, I do think the Dodgers are really good, and the Rockies were the team there that grabbed my attention because I don't know if I agree with the number, but I agree with the general emphasis of PECOTA. They were a team that I think was poised to spend money to help themselves make a leap. I'm just not sure they spent the money, and they spent this offseason, which was good, but they spent on Ian Desmond to play first base. And I know it's, he's a great athlete, he can play first base. Well, before I give a guy $80, $90 million, I'd like to know he can do it. And if he can't do it, then what is the domino effect in other places? And by the way, even if he can do it, he's kind of generally been a ground ball hitter. Is he a guy whose numbers, even in Coors Field, justify playing first base? Is he going to be one of the 15 best producers at first base? They got a fly ball pitcher in Mike Dunn to be in the relief. They paid way more for him than the other comparable lefties if they waited out the market, guys like Blevins and Logan. So,
but that said, they do have a good core of young position players.
And that's why
right?
I think if they would have spent their money well this offseason, I think they should have gone for it. I just don't think they spent their money well.
Okay. I think they might be around a 500 team. Maybe I'm wrong on that. What do you think, Ed?
Well, I think any dollars they spend should be on pitching. I mean, they have an outstanding lineup. They're going to score a ton of runs. But pitching at 6,000 feet is difficult because number one, your starters go less. Your bullpen is being used all the time. And by June, July, and August, they're done. And it's very difficult. They're going to go through 30 pitchers next year because they're going to score runs. And it takes a toll on your pitching staff when you're pitching at that altitude. So any dollars they spend should always be on pitching.
Okay. Do you think that's 76 wins makes sense for them?
I think that's in the ballpark, yeah. I really do.
What about you, Flynn? What do you think of the whole thing?
I would just like Eddie. We've been at that ballpark so many times, and look, Buddy Black is a great hire because he knows how to handle a pitching staff, and he knows about the altitude up there. Offensively, they're gonna hit. They always hit, but this is what happens in Denver. You have to score 10 runs a night to win. You start having leg issues, and your body breaks down when you're into August because they're gonna pound in April, May, June, and July. They're always in first place. And then that pitching starts leaking some oil. So I think there's some excitement up there. I think they might get a few more wins than's predicted right here. But they're going to have a bullpen and keep that bullpen fresh. You almost have to get fresh arms that just keep coming in because guys not only get tired, you can get a little gun-shy pitching up there on the moon.
Yeah, I don't see the depth there in the bullpen.
Okay. Dodgers at 98 wins. The Cubs, Baseball Prospectus has them at 91 wins. From there is where it looks surprising to me. The Pirates at 500. All right. Where are the Cardinals? 76 and 86. They have St. Louis. What do we think of the Central?
Well, I think St. Louis is going to find a way to sneak up there. They know how to win. They're always there when you count them out. Chicago, I'm anxious to see how those 2 long seasons affects their pitching, winning a World Series, all the ring ceremonies and the hoopla and all the excitement that continue to you celebrate. Everybody's shooting for you, too, because as soon as you take the field, they go, ladies and gentlemen, the world champions, and everybody goes
young.
after.
They're also very young, right? Everyone's getting a year older.
I'm talking about
that's
the pitching
good.
staff.
Yeah, all right. I hear you, and yet I think 91 is conservative because they won 103 last year, and before they hit that lull, they were going to win a lot more than that.
I still think they're going to win. I just think that St. Louis is going to sneak up there as well.
What do you think?
The Cubs are clearly the team in the division. I think Wade Davis is a key for them. He took a little step backwards off his historic 2015 year, but he's still a quality closer. I think one issue for them, they're not going to get the same production at the top of the order without Dexter Fowler. I mean, I think replacing him with Al Moore and John Jay is kind of a stretch, but the rest of their lineup is so good. They have the veteran starting pitching. Bullpen is solid. They're clearly the best team in the division.
This is where methodology would be interesting to me. And look, strange things happen during the season. Who knows how it will play out. But how do you look at, say, the 40 men available, the top 35, whatever you think is going to play this year, and and say that Milwaukee and St. Louis has the same amount of talent?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I don't know how you would get there.
I mean, St. Louis.
They got there. I don't know how they got there, but they got there. Somehow they got there.
St. Louis had a pretty good roster that added Dexter Fowler. You know, like they could probably hope for better health from Adam Wainwright. You know, Carlos Martinez broke through. Reyes should be in the rotation all year. I mean, there's things to be very optimistic about. There's things to be optimistic with the Brewers about their 2019 team.
Right. All right, to the NL East, one last thing. Mets over the Nationals. That makes sense to you? First blush, no, I haven't done research on it yet, but I thought the Nationals were still deeper, unless we're looking at that pitching staff for the Mets and everybody's pitching. I guess if that happens, maybe they are better. What do you think?
Well, they're predicting 88 and 87, so it's they're saying it's a coin toss. And if I were predicting today, and again, you know, I've said I don't like doing it, I think the Mets are better. Like the division has flip-flopped the last few years. I do think if the Mets have just a modicum of health, better than they've had last year from their rotation, it's so good and so deep. I mean, the fact is, Gazelman, Lugo, and Wheeler are all wild cards this year to go along with the 4 guys you expect to be really good.
Right.
That's really a lot of potential arms to throw at whatever problems they have.
All right, good point. What do you think?
I think I like Washington over the Mets just because the Mets, every single pitcher in their rotation has an issue, either a surgical issue or a non-surgical issue. So that's going to be a tough thing to overcome. Washington, they have the young player that's probably going to be under the most pressure next year, Trey Turner. I mean, Flan knows he's played the infield. When you get closer to that hitter, it's a very scary thing. Now, this kid put up unbelievable numbers. In half a year, if you extrapolate those out for a full year, he had 200 hits, he had 342, OPS of 900. He was free to roam in the outfield. Once you get in that infield, you got a lot going on. There's a lot of pressure on it's the second toughest position to play on the field behind the catcher.
It's his natural position, though. I mean, that's what he played in the minors, right?
Well, I know, playing in the minors and now living up to the expectations as a second-year player. There's a reason there's a sophomore jinx. The pitchers aren't stupid. They catch up with him. So he's going to see a lot tougher pitches to hit, and he has to worry about that defense in the middle of the field.